While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At Mentormeter, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While
about happiness in life, consider that everything that we do about life and everything that we do in life is all about eventually being happy. Happiness is the ultimate goal of life. Levels of happiness could vary, but the higher the level of happiness, the best it works.
Favorite line that I always, love to talk about, and something that I love to use on myself is also that, there is nothing that can't be worked on, right? Everything in this world, almost everything, right? Almost everything is something that can be worked on, could be, developed, right? Could be improved. We as human beings have such amazing capabilities and capacity that once we identify a certain thing, we can definitely try to improve on the same.
If you're really, if it is paining you, probably it's not your strength area, it's a weak area, right? If maths pain you, probably maths is not your strength area. If you love talking with people, maybe communication is your strength area. So some of these things, you will know it yourself. Further, apart from that, do ask your friends. Please ask your friends, what do you think I'm really good at? And they will tell you, rattle down those 3-4 things that you're really good at. Ask your parents. And sometimes parents also tell, मेरा बेटा इसमें से बहुत अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा मैथ्स में अच्छा है, मेरा बेटा दोस्तों के साथ बहुत अच्छी तरह से रहता है. They keep telling these things oftenly without you noticing it. So whatever they repeatedly tell about you, good about you, is your strength area, right? So ask your teachers. Teachers observe you. They see your scores, they see your habits, they see your behaviors. Based on that, they will tell you what you're really good at. Second thing,
what are the changes that's happened? Things that are looking very different is work from home may continue to be a way of life, because organizations have realized, people have realized that nothing, there are lots of things that can be done as well from home and possibly better. And those professions will perhaps continue to enjoy the benefit of working from home, if I might call that. Education and training have already gone digital, but there's a lot of scope of improvement. And with that, there would be a lot of training of the trainers that will come into play. We perhaps will not have to travel so much for work, because earlier we used to just take a flight for a 1-hour meeting to Chennai or for some training session to attend in Dubai, and that's
The
definitely
way I look at analyzing work or a analogy to work is more to do with your mind, where you do your all logical things, your aspirations, everything is logical.
The message
And
here
life
is we all have our starting points, we have our journeys, and we have our destinations. So today it might look like we're not headed anywhere, but in the end, it will all work out. So there's no need to be disheartened at all, and it is absolutely fine to be an average. The second part of the story goes where it comes about finding your own mojo. While I was an average student, I ensured just one thing. I kept my desire to learn and keep that fire inside of me ignited. Whether it was traveling, meeting new people, or even exploring new cultures, it was all about upskilling myself for me. Although while learning, I didn't really know where that was actually heading to. But then if I were to look back and think and connect the dots, I have the job that I have today only because of the skills and knowledge that I.
The time tracker app is designed to know where and how can your activities be revised and your time can be used effectively. In the time tracker template, you're supposed to input your activities and the amount of time you have spent on them. Statistical data will be provided on the basis of that, which will help your mentors to take further action. The benefits for working professional are identifying if you need changes in your time management to optimize results, helping you get clarity on goals and creating new ones if needed, identifying what creates positive energy which can be unleashed for you to maintain your work-life balance. The benefits for university students program are identifying if you need changes in your time management to optimize results, helping you identify and work on positive energy creators in your schedule, events, and people as well. Identifying areas for productivity, success, and happiness. The benefits for school students are identifying if you need changes in your time management to optimize results, helping you get clarity on goals and creating new ones if needed, helping you drive the areas of right association, acts, and creating right energy for your preparation, as well as eliminate areas where you can save time and be more productive in your work schedule.
24/7 chatbot access program is designed to help you sort some emergency access and avails you the 24/7 support system with qualified counselors.
The chat box is open to our learners at all times. You can clear your doubts and queries by simply dropping a question here, and we will try our best to answer them as soon as possible and to the best of our ability.
Benefits of the 24/7 chatbot access for working professionals are: it makes your life easier, it makes you stress-free, it helps you to avail expert advice which will help you in life to go further. Benefits of 24/7 chatbot access program for university students are: it helps you minimize the exam stress, it helps in finding out the life goals. Benefits of the 24/7 chatbot access program for school students are: it helps to reduce stress during exams, and it helps to access counseling sessions and different webinars at Mentormeter.
Environment Questionnaire, a set of questions designed with the aim to know the basis of an individual and works as a base for further action.
This is the questionnaire section. Here, you will be required to provide a few basic information about yourself, such as your current educational status, your future goals, etc. This is just to draw a precursory sketch before you begin your journey with us and our mentors.
The benefits of the Environment Questionnaire for working executives is knowing your version and work towards making it better. Gap analysis is done to find right solutions, understanding and identifying your needs from the base and working towards it, as well as knowing and identifying your goals and what needs to be done next. The benefits of the environment questionnaire for university students is knowing their version and making it better, bringing you from the zone of concern to the zone of comfort, assist you advocately using your environment and support system, as well as recognizing the needs from the very beginning and working on the same. The benefits of environment questionnaire for school students is knowing their version and making it better with an external expert view, help them leverage their environment and support system to drive them correctly, help them bridge a gap. All the constituents of our program, we also cater to the mental health of an individual, which ultimately helps an individual in case of working executives to affirm their right goals, identify their negative emotions, and create positive affirmations. Flexible counseling help reinforce behavior needed to improve the quality of life. A buddy and mentor who becomes part of your growth journey. In case of university students, it helps them deal with relationships better and put the right perspective, identifies one's negative emotions and worries and creates positive affirmations. Flexible counseling help reinforce behavior needed to improve their quality of life. For school students, it helps them deal with relationship issues better and put the right perspective to what's needed. Flexible counseling help reinforce behavior needed to improve their quality of life. A buddy, mentor who becomes a part of their growth journey and understands them when and how it's needed. So, along with all our other constituents, mental health is also considered essential and the issues are catered to.
This is the clip from a live session that we have every Friday on Instagram. Various IGTV videos from our live sessions are available where our experts from various fields have shared their insights with us. Do check out our IGTV on Instagram for wonderful and insightful discussions on various topics ranging from relationship to mental health to leadership and career building.
We'll be talking about critical thinking and how do you make decisions based on that.
Yep. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So, the first question is, why is it always challenging for us to make decisions or rather making the right decisions in life?
All right. Now, decisions are a very important part of our life. And now every day we take a lot many decisions, be it small one, little decisions every day that we take, and bigger decisions that has greater impact on our lives, right? So majorly there are two kinds of decisions that we take. One is a simple decision. It could be as simple as what should I have, tea or coffee, or what should I have in my breakfast, right? So that is a simple decision, and whatever I choose can be basis what is available to me, what is feasible, what I am in a mood to have, right? And that does not require a lot of challenges that we face, right? And decision what I do is does not also impact my life a lot, right? Even if I have a tea or coffee, that does not kind of hamper my life so much. But there are complex decisions that we're supposed to take in our life, and they have major and great impact in our lives. That they change our lives the way we take decisions, and that's the reason it's very very challenging always. Now, also there are a lot of decisions of us are based on our biases, our influences, or the background that we come from, right? And we tend to take incorrect decisions or sometimes not appropriate decisions for us, and we regret it later. And that's the reason everybody is very conscious about while they take decisions about career or relocating to a new city, even like buying a gadget or investing money, right? So what are your biases? Sometimes we tend to go like, are you influenced by somebody while buying something or choosing something? or there is a certain pattern of, like, we call it cognitive bias. There's a certain pattern, like gender-based profession. So we have the tendency ki, okay, girls can be this, boys can be this. So these are cognitive behaviors, and we tend to believe them. Rather than questioning them, we tend to believe, take decision accordingly, and that's the reason we find it very challenging. Also, like which everybody, like most of the people who have joined here can relate to, is when we go for shopping.
People say thoughts create reality. What are your thoughts and views on this? Can you explain?
Yeah, so this is like a well-known quote everywhere. People used to say thoughts create reality, especially when people believe in law of attraction. They say that thoughts create reality, and it is true. Basically, what we are thinking about something in, like, at least for the majority of the time in a day, for example, like 8 to 10 hours, if you're thinking about a particular thing, that's how your belief system gets wired. So according to your thought, your belief system forms a pattern, and based on your belief system is how you act in your everyday life. So if you're believing about something, that's how you react to certain situation. And so that's how everyone says that thoughts create reality, because your thoughts are going to like, it's going to be a major part for your belief system, and your belief system is based on how you how you react and respond to it. So it all is interconnected, and that's why your thoughts create reality. So you have to be really like tracking what you're thinking in a day. And for example, if it is going to be a negative thought or something, obviously you're gonna ruin your day. If you're fearing about something or it's definitely going to ruin your day, right? You might be waking up very happy and with so much confident and stuff, but when you just meet a random person who just spoils your mood just for a minute, and you're thinking about that whole day, obviously your thoughts are going to affect your pattern, how you react and respond to others, and you're going to ruin your day, the entire day. So thoughts create reality is basically, you have to track your thoughts, you have to be positive about it, and that's how your life changes. You should not just do this as a task or something. It's a lifestyle. You have to track it every day.
Is there any such thing as a failed relationship?
Yeah, great question. I truly think no. I really think that relationships are a mirror of ourselves, and we basically see ourselves in relationships, right? So every relationship, from my experience working with clients as a relationship coach, has shown me that any type of relationship, no matter what the outcome, helps us to grow, become stronger, and also become closer to what we really want, right? Because oftentimes we don't really know. Like, it takes so many years and years to really know, and so many failures, so many challenges. So to me, there's really no failed relationship. I really believe that any relationship will make us stronger, will make us find our true self.
That was beautifully answered by you, Mike. So, yeah. So, very truly said, there's nothing such.
What does actually 5 a.m. concept mean? And could you please explain this to us in detail?
So this concept was popularized or given to us by Robin Sharma. And what the concept is that you wake up at 5 a.m. and you give yourself 1 hour. You divide that 1 hour into 3 segments of 20 minutes each. 20 minutes of exercising, 20 minutes of planning, and 20 minutes of doing some productive work. And it is important to remember that in that 1 hour, we do the work for self development. We don't do any professional work. We don't check our emails. We don't use social media. We practice only well being practices that are useful for our wellness and development. That is the main idea of the 5 a.m. club.
Thank you, ma'am. It was in. So, ma'am, is it practically possible to follow 5 a.m. routine daily?
So earlier, even I used to feel that it's impossible to wake up at 5 a.m. Like, who even does that? But I spoke to a lot of people, I joined a community, and it is possible to wake up at 5 a.m. Of course, in the beginning, it can be very difficult, very tiring, very strenuous. But with practice, it can be, you can ease into it. And it is possible, it is practical enough.
So, ma'am, could you please point out some advantages of 5 a.m. routine?
So the very first advantage of the 5 a.m. routine is that you get some extra time just to yourself. When you wake up at 5 a.m., most of
During these tough times, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. We will start our session with a beautiful quote by Crystal Andrews. Feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion. Witness it, allow it, release it. I welcome each one of you to another webinar session by Mentormeter. Next slide, please. After the completion of the webinar, you can receive your e-certificate. The steps to avail the e-certificate are as follows. Attend the complete webinar. Second, once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to Google Attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback then form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive in your mail for the details. Follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will automatically mail to you. Kindly note that the certificates will be mailed in 24 to 48 hours. Next slide, please. Mentormeter is a mentoring organization. Our aim is to guide individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their academic performance to optimal. Our involvement helps students to set the right goals and enables them to define and manage their priorities as well as enhance their EQ. Once again, good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on building emotional health, self-care measures. The session will be led by established professionals, Ms. Mikey and Ms. Mukta Behrani. And audience, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat box and we will try to answer them in the Q&A session in the end. So our first speaker for the day is Ms. Mikey.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. So, Ms. Mikey, presenting our first speaker, Ms. Mikey, for our webinar, Building Emotional Health Self-Care Measures. Ms. Mikey is a founder of Smilo Clock. She's a relationship coach. She is a certified meditation and mindfulness teacher. She says, I help you create happy and fulfilled relationships with yourself and others through meditation and mindfulness. So, ma'am, could you please enlighten us for the topic?
Of course, of course. So, do you have the presentation on here, or should I share my screen? Perfect. Perfect, great. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. I know we've been in contact already before. We've done an Instagram live before as well together, and I really love all that you're doing, and I feel really honored to be here today and to speak about emotional health and how we can take better care of our self. So first of all, the one thing I think that is probably most important in that topic is how can we actually see that we need some self-care, right? Because oftentimes we get caught up in our daily life and things just happen, we're on autopilot and we don't even realize that all we need right now is some self-care. So first of all, let's talk about how we can see it. And I always like to divide it into some physical signs and emotional signs. And of course, the physical signs are a little bit easier to see, whereas the emotional signs really need some self-reflection sometimes to understand what we actually are going through. So maybe let's start with the physical signs. So one thing that always really is a very strong indicator that we might need some self-care is our immune system, right? So maybe if you feel that you frequently are getting sick, maybe it's just like, minor colds, or maybe can be anything really. But if you see that this happens a lot and that you're very reactive to the outside from your immune system perspective, this is definitely a sign. And I really speak from personal experience. And this was how I first realized that I needed some self-care, because I used to have like a very busy job, and I was traveling a lot, but I really enjoyed it. I thought I was living the best life. And the only way that I could actually see that I was putting too much stress on myself was that my immune system really didn't work at all anymore. And I really became quite sick very often, at some point for a really long period of time. So if this happens to you, this is a clear sign that you need to prioritize self-care. Another important point is have a look at your sleep. So maybe in general, you're always feeling a little bit tired, a little bit sleepy, or maybe another big sign is that maybe you have difficulties falling asleep, or you always wake up super early, or maybe you oversleep even. That's also another sign. So just check in on your sleeping rhythm, on your sleeping habits. If there's something off there, it's also a big sign that you might need some self-care. And some people can even get some skin problems if you have very sensitive skin. For example, me personally, I always get like some irritations on my hands or something. This is also very common if you're having too much going on in your life, and your body wants to tell you to slow down. And there are some skin irritations that you have that you usually wouldn't have. This is also a big sign. And then low energy, right? So I think we all know that feeling when we just wake up, and already when we wake up, we don't really feel like we have the energy to do anything. And this is normal. This is okay sometimes, depending on what we're going through in life. But if this occurs very often, it's also a red flag that we should closer examine. Let's say it like that. And oftentimes, because we're so tense all the time, it can even affect our muscles. So maybe if you often have like a neck or a back pain, this is a sign. Or in general, like, I mean, maybe for some people it's the neck or the back, but maybe for other people, it could even be like the stomach or any other area of the body. watch out for any type of pains that are not really, like you can't really explain them kind of. So this could be an indicator that you might need some self-care. Headaches, same thing. I mean, headaches, I would say, is even one of the most common ones, especially if we overwork ourselves. Of course, also related to sleeping habits. Yeah, and then actually one very common sign as well is eye problems, any type of problems with the eye. So this can even lead to getting a decreased vision. So if you feel you can't really see properly anymore, this is a very urgent sign that you need to prioritize yourself again. And yeah, and some people, depending also, of course, on how our body works, can also get like stomach or digestive issues. And in another sign is also if you experience a lower sex drive, for example, or for girls, it's also you can really have a look at your menstrual cycle, and if maybe there's something off, something not so regular, this can also be a strong indicator that you might need to prioritize some self-care right now. So these are the physical signs, so fairly easy to spot them, right? Like this is really, I would say, kind of like an easier indicator that you need some self-care. But then we also have some emotional signs, and it doesn't always manifest in physical signs. So it's also important to take care of yourself and reflect a little bit and see if there's any emotional signs. And emotional signs could be, for example, that you're very moody, you know, like you might cry a lot, you might feel emotional, maybe anxious, worried, you get snappy to the people around you, you find it really difficult maybe to focus, to concentrate on some important tasks. Like it can be, for example, as easy as doing work or concentrating on a conversation that you have. So if you realize like your mind is not really in the present anymore, but always wandering to some specific topics, that's a very strong sign. And in general, just if you realize that your attitude becomes a little bit more negative, pessimistic, that your self-esteem is decreasing. So this is also like, for me, for example, this is like my biggest sign. If I realize that I don't really feel confident anymore, my self-worth is quite low, or I don't really feel the self-love anymore, I know, okay, now it's time to prioritize myself and do some self-caring exercises. And then also I think this also goes a little bit with moody, so feeling irritable or often like find it difficult to tolerate other people's behavior. So this also goes with patience, right? If we're feeling a little bit impatient, it's also a signal. And it can also, like, I mean, at some point it will go so far that you don't really feel motivated at all anymore. You don't really get joy anymore in the things that you once enjoyed. And you really don't really feel like doing anything anymore. Same with making decisions. It's really hard for you to make any type of decisions. And if you're working on like a creative project, it might be really difficult for you to get new ideas. And then this is already, I would say, at a later stage. But also if you often feel lonely, but at the same time, you don't have any motivation to meet people, this is also a very strong sign that there's something out of balance inside of you. So yeah, these were the emotional signs. So it's really important to be receptive and open to both sides. And of course, the physical signs manifest themselves easier, or like they're easier to see, but at the same time, sometimes they take longer. So if you can already spot some emotional signs, it's really important also to react to them right away. Okay, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, yeah. So what can we do in that case? That was the next question that I was asked. And to be honest, what has helped my clients the most, and also myself in the past, is to do like kind of a quick fix where we don't have to think a lot. And this goes back to biology. It is simply activate your happiness hormones. So there is 4 different happiness hormones that are released depending on what we do. And the good thing about activating these hormones is that we don't even need to take a lot of time, you know, to reflect or to think about what would be good for me right now. But it's like a simple action step. So you can just right away do it without spending too much time or reflection on yourself. So here I put the 4 happiness hormones. We first of all have dopamine, which is the reward chemical. Then we have oxytocin, which is the love hormone, serotonin, which is the mood stabilizer, and the endorphins. I think they're probably the most known. They're the painkiller also. So how can we release these hormones? Dopamine is the one that is released whenever we complete a task or whenever we do something new, whenever we do some self-care activities, when we eat some nice food, or when we celebrate little wins. So here it's really all about the reward. Oxytocin is released whenever we create a connection with people or animals. So could be like just playing or cuddling with a dog or with a baby, holding hands with someone, hugging someone, or giving a compliment, or even just if you don't have anybody around right now, it can even also be just doing an act of kindness with a stranger. So for example, you go to the supermarket and you hold the door for someone. And then we have serotonin. Here, the mood is kind of stabilized when we meditate, for example, when we do some physical exercise like running or swimming or cycling. But also here, the contact to nature is really important. So it could be like a walk in nature or simply being exposed to sunlight. And then the 4th happiness hormone is the endorphins. And I think we all know endorphins are released when we laugh a lot, when we smile a lot. So even if we don't feel like that in the moment, just smiling for like a minute, just really time yourself with a phone or something and smile for 1 minute, you will already feel that you also overall feel better because endorphins are being released. You can also stimulate endorphins with essential oils, or simply watching something funny like a YouTube video or a comedy. It also dark chocolate, actually. If you like chocolate, dark chocolate is really helpful. And in general as well, exercising. So yeah, the happiness chemical is really an easy tool how to very fast prioritize our self-care when we need it. And then let's go to the next slide, because so this is like a tool that works for everyone. But in addition to that, of course, everybody has their own self-care practice that works for them. And I think it's really important to know that self-care means different things to everyone. So for me and my clients, what has been very practical and helpful is just sit down one day when you feel good, when you have a good day, and write down a list of all the things that make you happy, that you know you do them and you immediately feel good, you know. And then put that list somewhere where it's easily accessible. So it could be in the drawer next to your bed, or it could be you can pin it on the mirror in the bathroom, but just so that you have it easily accessible. And I say this because in the moments where we actually see the signs that we need self-care, we're oftentimes in a position where it is really hard for us to realize what we actually want or what we actually enjoy doing or what actually makes us happy, because self-care is all about doing things that make us happy, right? And as I said, like some of the signs also that we need self-care is that we don't really feel motivated and we don't really have energy. We don't really feel like doing anything actually. So that's why it's really important to have that list somewhere already, created at a time when we actually feel really good and happy. And so then whenever we feel like a bit down and like we really see the signs that we need self-care, we have that list and we just blindly follow it. Even if we don't feel like doing anything, even if we don't have the energy, we know we created that list at a time where we knew this would bring us happiness. So we just choose one point from that list and we just do it. And I guarantee you, it really helps. It really will help you to practice self-care, and it will instantly make you feel better. So like I said, it's very individual, but I wrote down a list here, which is kind of like a combined list that I created from all the participants of my last self-worth workshop that I did, because I think it can give us all some great ideas as to what could be your self-care practices. So for example, I'll just share them with you. One person said, take a walk in nature. So remember, this was also related to the happiness hormones. It's actually when serotonin is released, so it definitely makes sense. Another one is writing down 3 things that went well today and why. So this is a great exercise that we can do at the end of the day, and it will help us to release actually the happiness hormone, as well, the dopamine, the reward hormone. And it is also a really great tool to, in general, increase our confidence and be grateful. And another one is call a friend, always really helpful, I guess, like just to be social. It can help a lot of times. Going for a coffee on a cold winter day, if you have it cold wherever you are. Otherwise, maybe you want to have a refreshing juice or something like that in the heat. Cleaning the apartment can be really rewarding sometimes for people. Preparing a nice meal if you like to cook. Writing yourself a self-love letter. Then writing down all the things that you're grateful for. Maybe you already write a gratitude journal every day. Maybe just use that time to write an extra entry in there. Then taking care of your plants. This goes back again to the happiness hormone serotonin that is released here because we're in contact with nature. Do a workout. Again, serotonin and endorphins are released. Maybe if you have a beach close by, go to the beach, breathe the fresh air, take a dip in the water maybe. Create a vision board, because this will really make you excited about the future. Some people also said go into a freshly made bed after taking a shower, or maybe just not putting an alarm the next day and sleeping in. If you like music or playing an instrument, play an instrument. Take a long shower or a bath. Maybe just a hug or a smile. Getting a massage, especially maybe if your love language is physical touch, that can be really, really a really great self-care practice for you. Meditation, of course, reading a book, doing yoga. An interesting one is making a social media detox, or in general also a digital detox, maybe for like a day or a week. Don't use any screens if you can. Maybe painting, creating art, lighting a candle, listening to music, watching your favorite TV show, and spending quality time with your loved ones or eating some healthy food. So I hope you got some nice inspiration here, and that you can just pick some of these and add, maybe create your own list. I think it's really helpful to have one. I don't know how I would survive these days without a list like that. It's really helpful. And yeah, maybe you got some inspiration here. I hope you did. And let me know if you have any questions or anything. Yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session and sharing your experience and valuable advice on building emotional health. Surely everyone listening is more informed on this topic. We would reconnect with you during the Q&A session at the end.
Great.
So yes, ma'am. So this is our Mentormeter website. And you can log on to www.mentormeter.com for any areas, like for any doubts or for any, like our goals are time management and goal setting. This is a Mentormeter courses, and there are like programs for working professionals, programs for school students and university level students. So, and Mentormeter spirit and endeavor is to engage with the working people and help them improve their current performance, enhance motivational level, help them plan their short-term goals and long-term goals, enhance their emotional EQ, and help them have a better control over work-life balance and eventually success. So this is the working programs for university working professionals, and the next is programs for university students. Programs for university students are designed to identify their tracks for the future, whether they want to work or grow in the field of study or both. Our digital programs will help you to make informed choices that are duly evaluated, know your options clearly, and optimize your efforts to achieve your long-term and short-term goals. This test is entirely research-based and used across the world and have been developed by experts with many years of experience and practice. And there is a counseling. So this is extremely unique feature which provide you 2 structured sessions for 1 hour each and some 8 to 15 minutes counseling session for course correction, motivation, and for solving negative feelings and situations. And the next is a program for school students. These programs are designed to ensure that all integral focus area in a student's career development journey are met, and also help them be successful in habit formation for optimization of their performance in the immediate future by scientific and continuous self-evaluation. And there is also a counseling session. This is also like extremely unique feature which provide you 2 structured sessions for 1 hour each and some like 18 to 15 minutes counseling session for course correction, motivation, and for solving negative feelings and situations. We provide you with compass scores for direction setting, a 1-month engagement program. So this is our landing page. You can click check on the link and see the details which I have mentioned. So this is our Mentormeter app, and next is the Mentormeter QR code. You can scan and you can install the app. So this is presenting you our Mentormeter app. The app is available on Play Store. You all can download the app only on Android. The download is free of cost. Programs are paid. The app is available in India, Philippines, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Italy, Malaysia, Nepal, Russia, Spain, and Thailand. It will be launched in other countries soon. Kindly download our app and get help in your career. If you have any queries with the app, please feel free to contact us or drop a mail at contact@mentormeter.com or connect@mentormeter.com. Now, the second speaker for the day is Ms. Mukta Behrani. Welcome and thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. Ms. Mukta Behrani is a corporate trainer specializing in soft skills, communication, behavioral skills, and emotional intelligence, image management, and personal development. She has trained more than 5,000 people in last 5 years to guide them to become more successful and happier in life. She is an IT engineer by qualification and worked with renowned MNCs, took a wonderful shift in profession and now works with many companies, organizations, institutes, and many individuals from varied backgrounds. So welcome, ma'am. Could you please enlighten us on the topic?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ridu. Thank you for introducing me this wonderfully. And Mikey, that was lovely. And I absolutely agree with all the things that you said. I'm glad we're talking about such an important thing, that is self-care measures, and we all need to imbibe lots of these things, especially the social media detox plan that you said. And it's time that we all realize that's important for us. Thank you, Mikey. That was lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, Ridu, thank you for introducing me, and I'm absolutely glad to be here in this lovely opportunity given by Mentor Mitr. I'm delighted to be here yet again. And now we are talking about self-care because most of us have gotten so busy with our lives. Everybody has thousands of things to do, and in all of this, people forget that they really need to take care of their emotional health as well. But because we're so busy with all of this, there are lots of things that are actually causing stress to us. Now, when does this stress happens? We realize that whenever the pressure on us to do something increases, than the energy that we can give it, than the money that we can give it, than the resources that we can give it, that's when we realize we get stressed. So stress can be actually defined as any type of change that's actually caused in a physical body or emotional sense or in a psychological way. What happens is your stress is basically just a response to any event that's happening around you. It is simply something that requires attention or action. And everyone experiences stress in some or the other way. Now, how you respond to this stress is of utmost importance, and that defines on how is the stress going to impact us and what kind of a difference does it make to our overall well-being. Now, when we talk about stress, we realize that usually we talk in a negative connotation whenever we look at the word stress. This negative kind of stress is often called as distress. Distress is caused when you are not able to cope with something. That is, you are not able to handle a situation. You tend to feel overwhelmed, you're anxious, and you experience certain physical and psychological symptoms. Like Mikey wonderfully explained, there could be headaches, there could be tension, insomnia, inattentiveness, irritability. So this is the kind of feeling that we usually name it by calling, I'm so stressed out. And this, if continues for a longer period of time, that is when it could lead to some serious mental illnesses as well. And that could really hamper a person's ability to function well. Now, have you ever thought that stress, we usually talk about it negatively, but could it be also good in some way? Yes, stress can be good too. And that's what we're going to talk about next. That is called as Eustress. Yes, this is a concept that is actually helpful for us. In what ways? Now, this could motivate you. This could be a driving factor. And in what situations do you get it? When there's a challenge in front of you, when there's something exciting in front of you. So yes, there's this stress, but it actually propels you to do something better. It actually helps you to think of creative ideas. So you reach your goals even in the face of these challenges. In your body and brain, both eustress and distress involve activation of either the fight or the flight mode. Now, what is this? Instantly, if you think about solving something, doing it, going for it, that is when it is eustress. It is actually helping you to do something. On the other hand, if it is, let this slide be there. On the other hand, if it is putting you down, if it is getting you worried or nervous, that is the distress or the negative side of it. These are some general signs that you will observe that distress, if on one end it provides you restless energy, eustress will give you some productive energy. It will help you increase your focus, your motivation, your excitement, and it feels manageable. It feels like, yes, you can do it. It might be difficult, but you can still do it. So it improves your performance. It's associated with your confidence. The better you feel about it, the better you are able to do it. And you can expect a positive outcome. On the other hand, with distress, when you experience negative stress, your focus is decreased. you tend to procrastinate all of it, or you tend to altogether avoid some task. You are generally scared of doing it. There's some kind of fear or concern or worry about it. You tend to feel very overwhelmed. You don't perform really great. Some kind of insecurity there's inside you, and you tend to feel that this is probably going to turn out bad. There'll be some kind of a negative outcome, and which is why negative stress is not really good for us, especially when it tends to accumulate over a longer period of time. Now, what happens is, when you understand, are you experiencing eustress or distress? That is totally at your discretion. And that is totally your recognition, your identification. Now, how do you identify all of this? We have seen Mikey explained some physical signs and some emotional signs. This is just put them together in a short way. Let's just quickly go through them. Feeling overwhelmed, helpless, or hopeless. Or if you're feeling guilty without a clear cause, when you don't know really what happened, but you still don't feel great about it. Or if you're spending too much time worrying about something, you can't remember something that you want to. You cannot sleep, or you're sleeping a lot, or you're having some changes in the way you eat, your eating patterns. If you've also started using alcohol or smoking or any kind of drug, if you've found yourself isolating from people or activities, or generally you've experienced these mood fluctuations, you tend to get irritated, or you tend to get angry often, or you're experiencing fatigue, you feel that tiredness all the time, or you're having difficulty keeping up with the daily tasks, or in general you experience some unexplained pains and aches, you don't know what happened, you didn't lift anything heavy, you didn't exert yourself, but still that kind of chronic pain is there. These are some of the emotions, these are some of the symptoms of emotional distress. The moment you start recognizing or identifying or pointing these things out, the moment you realize you are facing all of this, you've got to understand there's something you have to do about it. What will you do about it? Now, important point is to understand and find out. You've got to think about this. You find out what was the triggering point of these things. Now, you might not easily find it, but if you give it a little more thought, you'll realize that the same thing, what actually bothers you so much, triggers you so much, could actually be a normal thing for somebody else. And somebody else, if is bothered by something, you might consider it to be totally normal. So what can trigger you or somebody else is going to be very different, and you've got to identify that on a very individual level. You can't really compare your understanding, your feeling, and your behavior to someone else's. So one is that, how different are the trigger points for you? Try and understand them. Secondly, understand how does it impact you. So stress does not affect everyone in the same way. Some people might experience more of physical symptoms, some might experience more of emotional symptoms. Also, there could be a lot of variation in that. For example, some could experience palpitation, some would probably just get irritated, some would clearly realize they can't work effectively. So it's going to be different. The impact is going to be different for everyone. Next thing is, how do you, go back. Next thing is, how do you control that whole scenario? Is it in your control? Do you feel you can handle that situation? Because the moment you realize it is going out of your hand, you start to get nervous about it. You start to get anxious about it. And that anxiety doesn't really lead you anywhere. And finally, are you able to arrive at a solution, part solution, complete solution, or you just can't do anything about it? So how you perceive a situation matters a lot. Go to the next one. Now we're going to talk about, in 3 steps, how are you going to deal with whenever you feel this kind of distress, this kind of emotional instability. First and foremost, go to the next slide. First and foremost, the easiest thing you can do is just take a pause. Pause in that moment. Before you arrive at any conclusion, before you take any steps, realize that you do need to take a break. It could be as short as just 5 minutes. It could be as long as a day or a week, or I don't know, if in difficult situations could be a month. But take a break. Right now, let's just talk about a short break, maybe of a few minutes or a few hours. Use this grounding technique, and this is something that you can literally do anywhere. You're at home, you're in office, you're traveling, wherever you are. Just think of some things that you can see in that moment. Just think of some things that you can hear. Think of some things that you can smell, and think of some things that you can touch. Go back. Just in that moment, you'll realize that you become more aware of that moment. You suddenly fall in the present. Instead of worrying excessively about something, you're in that moment. And now that you are aware of the situation, it's time for you to take the next step. Now go to the next slide. Next important step is you start becoming mindful of everything that you are feeling. For this, ask yourself these questions, these 5 simple questions, which now you might think that they're not very simple, but when you are in that situation, you will be able to do, because you are in that very context. So first, ask yourself, how are you feeling? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling scared? Are you feeling happy, excited, nervous? What is it that you're feeling? Second is, ask yourself, why am I feeling this? You'll get some answer. Ask yourself, why again? And ask yourself, why again? When this series of 3 whys you answer, you realize that most probably you are getting to the root of the problem, root cause of the problem. Now that you've realized what the problem is, in most cases, ask yourself, how is it affecting you? Is it affecting you mentally, emotionally, physically, in your work, in your relationships? How is it affecting you? Are you overthinking something? Maybe the matter is only this much, and because you're overthinking, it looks this big to you. Is it that way? Are you overthinking because of some past experience that you've previously had a bad experience in a similar situation, so you think that this might go wrong again? Are you overthinking just because you are in a bad mood already? So these will be some questions. Ask yourself. And finally, ask yourself, can you respond any differently? Important thing, reaction happens without thinking. Response happens when you actually think. By the time you're thinking all of this, you anyway will be in a position to respond and not just bluntly react. And lastly, finally, we saw a huge list that Mikey provided. I'm going to give you a similar list, only a shorter list. And quickly, I want you to look at the screen and choose any 3 self-care solutions for you. 3 easiest that you will mostly tend to pick up. Look at the screen carefully. You could write it down or record an audio. Talk to someone you trust. Go to your happy place. Express through drawing or painting. Listen to music, sing, poetry, play an instrument. Take a walk, run, do any physical activity. Could be yoga, dance, good swim. Cry it out if needed. Take a nice shower or a spa. Watch something nice. Feel it, understand it. Breathe, take time, focus. Eat something comforting. Talk to yourself. Think, analyze. Sleep over it if it is possible for you. Go to a beautiful nature place if it's close to you. Meditation and guided exercises, or if not, consult and take help from an expert. Quickly look at the screen, select 3 solutions that you're going to pick at any time, because different things are going to work for different people. You've got to pick the ones that mostly work for you, something that you like to do. Done? Now, keep these 3 absolute solutions with you. You realize we've been through a part of 3-step process. Go to the previous slide. Go to the previous slide. Yes. First, you take a pause. Take a break. Grounding technique. Become aware of the situation. Step 2, go to the next one. Become mindful of what you're feeling, how you're feeling, why are you feeling that way. That's step 2. Step 3.
Figure out in this moment what solution are you going to apply. Now let's understand a very important thing. These are some quick sort solutions. They will help you in an instant. Go to the next slide. What I'm trying to tell you is that self-care is not an immediate solution all the time. In fact, it is a way of life. The more you do all of these things, the less you fall in situations where you have to use them as urgent solutions. I'm saying if your lifestyle is such that you constantly take care of yourself, you will tend to experience less anxiety, less worry, less anger. Yes, it will happen. I'm not saying that you're going to stop doing all of this. Yes, you will always go through some kind of stress in life because it's life. But you will be able to handle it better. Now, always, all the time, this is not instant solution that I'm talking about. Always practice self-compassion. If your self-compassion misses you, then it's purely incomplete. Love and respect yourself all the time. And Mikey also spoke about confidence and self-esteem. And when you realize that you do not love yourself enough, you do not respect yourself enough, you eventually start to see that decline in your self-confidence. Now, you recognize your limits. This is what you can do. You've got to stretch yourself. You've got to push your limits, but only to a limit. Do not push yourself excessively because it is important to take care of your physical, emotional, mental health as well. Sometimes you also need to pamper yourself. So do that occasionally. That's good to do that. And do what you love. All the things that you love other than work, please do them. Give them good time. These 5 things, if you do, you will realize that you tend to get so better emotionally and you improve on your emotional well-being. Go to the next slide. And finally, let's understand that self-care is not selfish. It is important. You need to prioritize it. Self-care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. And it's important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others because you cannot really serve from an empty vessel. These are some lovely quotes that I found on internet for you, and I think they absolutely fit the topic of today. And we all need to understand this is important for all of us. So finally, all I want to tell you is, go to the next slide. Have a positive attitude. Through all of this, I know it gets difficult when we are highly stressed and someone tells you are a positive socho. You've got to think positive, and you actually feel like just going away from that person because that person does not understand. But you've got to understand this thing, that only you will be able to look at any situation positive. Only you have the ability to do that because you are in that situation. So one, have a positive attitude. And next, now that we've done all of this, you have so much more knowledge about how would you take care of yourself, how important self-care is, and what all measures can you take whenever you need it, as well as long-term. I want to tell you, please take care. Next slide, please. This is something I really wish for all of you. And I hope you loved the session. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Thank you so much. This was wonderful talking to all of you about such an important thing. Thank you once again, Mentor Mitr. I'll be happy to open the questions now.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your wonderful insights. It was definitely enriching. So now we will move on to the Q&A session. So my first question is for Mikey, ma'am. How can we motivate other people to start practicing self-care?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I do think that ultimately it's up to everyone, right? So we cannot force anybody to practice self-care. This is something that has to come from yourself. Me personally, how I feel most motivated is when I'm inspired by other people. So I think the way how we can best motivate other people is by leading by a great example, right? And sharing the self-care practices that we do. And for example, like I always feel so motivated when a friend of mine says, oh, so today I'm going to block my whole day. I'm going to cancel all my plans. I'm just going to do like a whole me time day. This really also then motivates me and reminds me to set my boundaries and prioritize myself. So I would say simply by leading by a good example and sharing it with people. Yeah, I would say this is, for me at least, the most motivating measure.
Thank you, ma'am. So next question is for Mukta, ma'am. Are there any simple daily habits that help us to build and improve our emotional health?
Oh, absolutely.
According to you.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, both of us spoke about a few things that we could actually do daily. Some of them being you could actually journal, start writing a journal. If not too much, just give it 5 to 10 minutes of your time. More than anything else, if you start a gratitude journal, that is something that will really help you. And that works wonders. You feel better. You feel so much better. Another thing that you can do is start eating healthy. I know there are times when we resort to junk food, but then there are times when you do realize it's just good to eat healthy, and you realize that you automatically feel that energy in your body. That's important. And every day give some time to your favorite activity. That could be drawing, that could be art, music, dance, whatever you feel like doing, or you could simply just go for a walk. If you realize that you do not have enough time to do that every day, instead of just giving up on the whole idea of not doing it at all, just do it for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as much as you can manage. So if you love going for a walk, if you can't give it half an hour, 1 hour, just give it 10 minutes. If you love to paint, just paint something nice every single day. Whatever it is that you love to do, you could take care of your plants, you could talk to someone you love, you could meditate. That is something that all of us should start. And you might have heard meditation is difficult, you can't sit quiet, you cannot control your thoughts. But the essence of meditation is to let things happen however they are happening. If thoughts come and go, let them come and go. Just sit there calm for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and that's all I'm asking. These are some simple things that everyone can do every day, and you'll see a great difference when you do it for a continuous longer duration of time. Make it a way of your life. Make it a lifestyle.
Thank you, ma'am. So the next question is for Mikey, ma'am. One of our audience asked that while taking care of others, we sometimes forget about our own self-care. How to ensure that self-care can be win-win?
How to make sure that self-care is what? Sorry?
I mean, it's not biased towards like one person, like for us also, yes. Like it's a win-win.
Yes, no, definitely. And I think this goes back also to what we've just heard now, is that we can only give other people if we give ourselves, right? If we ourselves are in a good position, if we ourselves are happy, fulfilled, and practicing self-care, we can give that and share that with others. Because otherwise, we all know, like, I mean, if we're not in a good state, we don't have any motivation or energy to give it to anyone else. So I totally agree. And honestly, I used to be a really big people pleaser in the past. And I know exactly what you mean with that comment. You can really get caught up in taking self-care for others, or I don't even know if this is then called self-care, but about caring for others. And at that point, it gets really hard to see actually what our own needs are and how to prioritize them. And I do think the only thing that helps then is to really practice saying no, because we need to pause, right? And this is also like, that was the first step actually that was just shared. We need to just stop sometimes and reflect. And then I think saying no and canceling a plan and just, sitting by yourself, with your thoughts is the only thing that can help us to get there. So I do think the first step really is practice saying no in the silliest and smallest occasions, because then it will get easier for you to do it, and you can reflect on what self-care really means for you, and you can get more mindful also to know when you have to take care of yourself and not only others. And this also is like exactly the difference between self-love and being selfish, right? Because when we're selfish, we love ourselves at the expense of others, but when we practice self-love, we love ourselves, and as a result can love others more. So important to just be mindful, meditate, just pause and be with yourself and set your boundaries.
Thank you, ma'am. And I will definitely implement this in my life. So my next question is for Mukta, ma'am. How having a good emotional health helps us to be self-aware?
Well, it goes both ways. When you are emotionally better, when you are emotionally well, you can be self-aware. And also when you're self-aware, it helps you to be emotionally well. It works both ways, actually. So to answer your question specifically, when you are disturbed, when you are in a difficult situation, when you are already stressed, it becomes difficult for you to focus on everything that's around you. Maybe it could be a piece of work, maybe it could be some task, maybe it could be a conversation, it could be anything at all. But you realize if there's something bothering you constantly, you cannot focus on something. And you are not able to be there fully present. You are not able to focus on the tiniest aspects of, in fact, even the major aspects of something. You're not aware of the situation completely. You're not aware of what's happening to you completely. How would you affect, or your response affect, the whole situation or the circumstance or other people effectively? You're not able to recognize and see these things very consciously. So in short, if you are not emotionally stable or well, you are just compromising on all of this, which is exactly why when you are in an emotionally stable state, you will be able to see all of this. You will be able to perform better, function better, talk better, have better relationships, do things better, give yourself better time, everything, I think. So that's exactly why we need that emotional stability and wellness.
Thank you, ma'am. So our last question is for Mikey, ma'am. And how far antidepressive drugs works?
Well, that's a good question. I do think they have their place. Of course, everybody is at a different stage, right? And everybody has a different history. Everybody is going through different things. And I do think that if, of course, it depends on your personal situation, if they can work for you or not. And of course, only if your psychologist, your doctor has prescribed them to you. And even then, I think it is something that we have to take very, very cautious, because it might be that they actually don't even work for you, or they even make everything worse. And especially if you haven't reflected yet on yourself, and you haven't even implemented all these things that we just talked about, right? Because I strongly believe that the first step that we can always do is work on ourselves, right? And this should, like, antidepressant pills should only be the very last solution, like really like at the very end, when there's no way out, and we've tried all the other things before, because they really do influence us in like a chemical biological way that we we can't take it back anymore, right? So for me, I've actually had a few clients that have been on antidepressant pills in the past, and they even said it made everything worse for them, and it really didn't work. And this is when they started to work with me with meditation, what Mukta was also talking about, as a very powerful tool, and mindfulness techniques, self-care. And through that, they were able to achieve much bigger benefits than they did with antidepressant pills. So I do think, of course, they have their place, depending also, of course, on what stage you are. But first and foremost, self-care. And it takes time, of course, and it takes energy to to understand what self-care is for you and to really establish a routine. But first of all, I really strongly believe that we can all learn to practice self-care first, and then of course together with a psychologist or a doctor, we can see what other measures could be if this doesn't work.
Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to thank Ms. Mikey and Ms. Mukta for joining us, as well as the audience for giving us your time and support. Thank you for attending and engaging in today's live session with us. Lastly, I would like to repeat the steps to avail the e-certificate. Attend the complete webinar. When you see thank you on the screen, there will appear a link to a Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback questionnaire. And the questionnaire will be emailed to you. Fill the questionnaire and you get an email for your details. Follow up page, whether you did not or is also there in the questionnaire. If you did and replied in affirmative and actually did not follow up page, you will get the e-certificate. And if all the above stated steps are followed, automatically an email e-certificate will be issued to you online. So, and you can get in touch with our website, www.mentormeter.com, and or email us at contact@mentormeter.com. So thank you so much everyone for attending our webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was wonderful.
It was lovely.
Thank you, ma'am.